What is cracking, boys ladies? It is Run Creates, and today I bring you how to get every single crystal tier in Elden Ring. Now, although this is relatively spoiler free, there's still some areas you're gonna have to unlock in order to actually collect all of them. There's a total of 28 crystal tiers in the lens between, and this video is going to be a guide on how to get all of them super easy without any of the BS. So with all that being said, let's get into today's content. By far, the first crystal tier you should pick up is the Crimson Crystal tier. There's two Crimson Crystal tiers in the game. The first one is the one you're going to want to go to as soon as you start, which is at the third Church of Makria, which you can find by going down from Saint's Bridge. Here, you can also obtain the Wonderous Flask of Physick, which is the new implementation to the Soul series that allows us to basically act as an all-knowing Estus Flask that can be used for many purposes, which is where this video is tailored around. Because of that reason, you have so many different combinations, and that's why you should come here first before even collecting any other Crimson tiers, or Crystal tiers. The Shrouding Crystal tier could be one of the first crystal tiers you unlock in the game if you decide to go from Stormhill and go northeastern, and eventually you'll find a giant. If you run past him, there will be a bowl with the Strength Knot Crystal tier inside it for you. The Strength Knot Crystal tier, you can tell by the knots already, powers up your strength stat for a limited amount of time. So if you're doing maybe a Strength Equality build, that could help be a nice little boost to you. Here's the Ruptured Crystal tier. It can be found. It's dropped by the Erdtree avatar that resides over in the Larunia of Lakes Minor Erdtree. This is one that can be found all the way to the left and around the middle waypoint. However, upon killing this one, you can also obtain a Cerulean Crystal tier. The Cerulean Crystal tier allows you to restore 50% of your maximum FP, which can be really good for anybody that might be a caster. And the Ruptured Crystal tier can basically blow you up upon consuming, so I don't know why it's in the game, but so our next crystal tier can be found over in Mistwood, over in West Limgrave. There you can go over to the bowl and pick up the Green Spill Crystal along with the Spiked Crystal tier. The Green Spill tier temporarily boosts your stamina, which can be really good for beginning games since you can literally get this just by going to the left of the first step. While the Spiked Crystal tier enhances your charged attacks, so the more charged it is, the more damage it'll do when this crystal tier is activated. Now we're going way up to the mountaintop of Giants. I know, quite a big skip. But we're actually going to go to yet another Erdtree. This Erdtree is all the way up right above Castle Soul, or more to the north of Castle Soul to be exact. There you can obtain yet another Cerulean Crystal tier, which if you put both of those together, 2 and 2, that'll give you a full FP recovery if you ever go down to 0. And you can also obtain the Crimson Bubble tier. The Crimson Bubble tier basically heals you when you get close to death. So you drink it and it'll automatically heal your health back when you get to around under quarter health bar. So that's really nice to have in case you do, but it is quite late game. So making your way all the way up to Mount Glemmer, you're actually going to have to make your way very close to the Volcano Manor, and you're going to want to take sort of a loop down into the mountain, and there you're going to find a destroyed Minor Erdtree. Once you've killed it, you're going to obtain the Cerulean Hidden tier. This one is very interesting because what it does is it basically makes your FP infinite for 10 whole seconds. And that can be really good if you're going to go and pull out a Kamehameha on a mage build. The Leaden Heart tier temporarily boosts your poise. So if you need to maybe stack up poise, you don't want to get a Baldachin, wait, what are those even called? Baldachin like blessings or something like that. If you don't want to get those from Fia, you could just drink this for 3 minutes and poise up so you can spam some spells. So make your way to Southern Limgrave. You can actually go from the Church of Pilgrimage down south, where you're going to find yet another. At this Minor Erdtree, you're going to have to kill yet another Erdtree avatar. Yeah, there's a lot of them you have to kill. But once you've killed them, you'll obtain the Crimson Bust tier, which steadily restores your HP over time, which can actually be pretty good for longer battles. If you know you're going to take a bit of damage ahead of time, you can just have that to keep upping your health. But that's not the only one you obtain here. You also obtain the Opaline Crystal tier. The Opaline Crystal tier might be really impressive because it actually significantly negates damage for the time that it's boosted, and that's pretty strong for a beginning game item that you can obtain just by running down from the first step. Because of that reason, I actually might recommend picking up this one if you're interested in it, because as far as I know, I think it lasts for 3 minutes, which can be very helpful for certain battles in the game. Faith Knot Crystal tier can be found directly north of the Demi-Human Ruins, right or western of the Church of Pilgrimage. And there you're going to find this bowl that's going to have the crystal tier knot in it for you. It's going to be surrounded by a bunch of plants, but not a big deal. The faith crystal knot temporarily boosts your faith stat, which I guess can be helpful if you're doing a faith holy build, but it's nice to know. The dexterity knot crystal tier can be found in the Larunia of the Lakes. Here you can actually make your way from Boil Prawn Shop down southern, and you'll find it next to all these weird Area 51 dudes. If it wasn't obvious already by the knots that we've seen so far, it basically boosts our dexterity. So if you're doing a dex or quality build, it might be a nice little boost to have. The winged crystal tier can be found on an altar surrounded by a bunch of snake skull enemies. You can get there easily from the outer wall battlegrounds grace and go directly northeastern from there. And the winged crystal tier temporarily reduces your equipment load for, I believe, about 3 minutes. So maybe it can find its use if you're going to decide to be a huge tank. So the magic shrouding, lightning shrouding, and holy shrouding crystal tier can be found in the lakes of Larunia. It's under the minor Erdtree at the mausoleum compound site of grace. There you will have to fight and kill an avatar. Basically what these shrouding crack tiers do is they temporarily boost whatever type of attack status it has. So you can find the Twigcrack tier and yet another crimson tier over at the minor Erdtree that is within the capital outskirts. It's actually right next to where you found the winged crystal tier at. You actually just go there and it'll be sitting behind a bunch of enemies. But the Twigcrack tier is actually kind of interesting because unlike the other ones we've been over, this one actually has the same type of effect as, say, a Ring of Sacrifices. So if you drink it at the last moment before dying, you will keep your souls, or runes in this case. And with another Crimson Crystal tier, you're able to have not just 50% of your health recovered, but also 100% of your health recovered. So it's actually even better. Make your way to the minor Erdtree at the Atlas Plateau that's in the middle of the area, and you're actually going to fight Wormface. And be careful because he spreads death all over the place, which if that's procted will instantly kill you. So make sure to stay clear of that when fighting him. I actually have a boss guide on him. But basically what you're going to do is once he's defeated, you're going to obtain not only the Crimson Spill Crystal tier, but also the Crimson Spill Crystal tier temporarily boosts your maximum health, which could be good if you need to get an extra bonus of health or really need to tank through a battle. And you also will obtain, and the Speckled Heart tier is actually a very useful one because not only does it heal your status ailments, but it also boosts your resistances as well to every type of status ailment. So it's actually probably one of the better places to go if you want to get some tiers. So the Green Bust Crystal tier and the Flame Shrouding Crack tier can be found over at the minor Erdtree in Caelid. You have to defeat a very tough Erdtree avatar over there, and once you defeated him, you can obtain both of these tiers. Now, the Green Spill tier temporarily boosts your stamina recovery, which is very good, while the Fire Shrouding Crack tier temporarily boosts your fire attack. So if you're somebody that's doing like a fire build or pyromancer, it's gonna be pretty good for you. So the Crimson Horror Bubble tier is insane. Basically, for a very short period of time, it heals you when you take damage. So take that as you will. Be obtained from the fort once you've crossed the chains to get over to the foot of the forge, make your way up to the fire giant. From there, you actually have to walk down some ledges on the cliff before you find a bunch of hands that are guarding this one bowl. Inside this bowl is going to be that tier, and let me tell you, it is one insane crystal tier. So the Thorny Cracked crystal tier can actually be obtained by making your way to a pretty late game area. Ordinia, I actually made a guide on how to get there. Check that out in the Elden Ring playlist. But basically, you'll have to go there and kill yet another Erdtree avatar. Once you've done that, you're going to obtain not only this crystal tier, but also another ruptured crystal tier. But the Thorny crystal tier actually makes consecutive attacks become stronger with the more hits you get in. So it could get pretty wild if you decide to do some experimentation. The Stonebarred Cracked tier and the Opaline Heart tier can both be found over at the minor Erdtree, which you can make your way from the south of Len's Rise to get to. Here you have to defeat the Erdtree avatar for like the 5th time or more, and then you're going to obtain both of these crystal tiers. The Stonebarred Cracked tier makes breaking your enemy's guard stance more likely to happen, so depending on what type of enemy or opponent you go up against can depend whether or not this is actually going to be helpful to you. However, the Opaline Heart tier boosts elemental damage negation. Because of this reason, it can be utilized on many different bosses that might use any of the types of elements, which makes it pretty useful. So if you can take down the minor Erdtree avatar here, you're looking pretty good. The Windy Crystal tier can be found being guarded by a giant bird crow thing, and it's over in Caelid. If you make your way from the impassable bridge Grace, you can actually just go up northwestern and you'll get to that spot. Once you're there, you can obtain it, and the Windy Crystal tier is yours. What it does is it basically makes your dodges more effective, so it's sort of like the Hunter's Bone from Bloodborne. The Intelligence Knot Crystal can actually be found in the Larunia of the Lakes. I actually went from the Carrion Manor main gate, Grace, and I actually made my way down south, all the way around the rocks, did a jump with Torrent, and made it to this area. It's guarded by a few hands, but you can just run past them, grab it right out the bowl, and it's yours. It boosts your intelligence stat, which is not bad. Again, every crystal knot does this with boosting a certain attribute, so it's nice to see that we get one for int as well. Although I think there's way better ones you could pick with a caster or a mage in general, but that will be for the next video. For the last but certainly not least one, it's the Purifying Crystal tier. Purifies the Lord's Blood curse when you mix it in your Physick, and you can obtain it by being invaded by, what the hell is her name? You can find it in the Second Church of Makria up in the Atlas Plateau, and you're going to be invaded by Red Finger or Bloody Finger Eleonora. Eleonora. I don't know how to, I probably butchered it, but you kill her. She likes to use bleed, but basically you kill her and you get it. Keep in mind, I don't know if this is going to affect Yura's questline at all, so before going in and doing this, make sure that you check just to be sure. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, if you're going to do Yura's questline, do that first and then knock out this one. But that is how to get all of the crystal tiers in Elden Ring. If today's guide was helpful, make sure to leave a like on the video, or if you enjoyed the content, also be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more Elden Ring content, and make sure to hit me up on your email list for extra notification there too. Check out my other social medias for any tidbits of information you might find over there that can't be on YouTube. But before you leave, make sure to also check out the Elden Ring playlist and join the journey through the land between, because we are very close to hitting 100 videos within less than 3 months of the game's release, and it's looking really great. It's worth a check. Join the journey. What are you waiting for? But yeah, make sure to also stick out for my video on what are the best combinations for the crystal tier concoctions in your Physick. And until next time, rise my fellow tarnished, and brandish thine Elden.